The speech delivered by the President of Ghana has been touted as one of the most powerful, as he poked the UN and mentioned emphatically, Africa is the future.
The future is African.
But the big question on the lips of many is this: what does Ghana's stance on Israel-Gaza war means for Ghana's future? Don't forget to subscribe and let's dive in. The President of Ghana said the tables are turning and Africa's role is going to be huge and consequential. According to him, by the year 2050, this will happen. Listen from the horse's own mouth.
It's impossible to do that without first considering the collective role that Africa played in its founding, which was small and relatively insignificant. Of the 51 member states involved in the founding of the United Nations in 1945, only 4 were African: Egypt, Ethiopia, Liberia, and South Africa. It is important to point out that the United Nations came into being in the aftermath of World War II because of the inability of its predecessor, the League of Nations, to avert a large-scale global conflict, which had been its guiding purpose when it was founded in 1920 at the end of the First World War. Out of the 42 founding member states of the League of Nations, only 3 were African: Liberia, the Union of South Africa, and Ethiopia. Egypt was to join later in 1937. Africa's overall participation in the organization's founding was minimal and relatively unimportant. That's because before all the other talks and meetings, representatives from a group of 14 nations gathered in Berlin for a series of discussions that began in 1884 and which led to the partitioning and formal colonization of the African continent, which is also called the Scramble for Africa. It has famously been written that past is prologue. Well, in the past, the majority of the 54 nations that now comprise Africa were never offered a seat at the table where plans for a new world order were being drawn. But, Madam President, as fate would have it, the tables are turning, and Africa's role in the authorship of whatever is yet to come for this world is going to be huge, and it will be consequential. According to this organization's own projections, by the year 2050, more than 25% of the world's population is expected to come from the African continent. Additionally, by 2050, 1/3 of all young people aged between 15 to 24 will be residing on the African continent. So you see, the future of this world is African. Allow me to say this once again a little louder for those of you in the back. The future is African.
He also spoke about Ghana's positive outlook and his tremendous achievements by his government, which everyone thinks he must be applauded for. Take a listen.
Maybe you are unaware of the resilience of African nations or their remarkable ability to make a strong comeback just when you think it's safe to count them out. That is what is happening right now in my own country, Ghana. Our constitution limits leaders to 2 4-year terms. In January, I was sworn in for a second term, which, let me point out, was non-consecutive with my first term. Our currency, the Ghana cedi, was rapidly depreciating, faced with rising inflation, a huge debt burden, and low morale amongst our citizens. My new administration settled down quickly and embarked on an ambitious program of comprehensive transformation designed to restructure Ghana's economic foundation and enhance our competitive standing globally. We refer to this process of recalibration as our reset agenda. In just 8 months, we have achieved significant reduction in inflation from 23.8% in December 2024 to 11.5% in August 2025, restoring price stability for our citizens. Additionally, our currency, the Ghana cedi, has appreciated considerably against other currencies, with Bloomberg reporting it as the best performing currency in the world at one point. Our improved sovereign credit rating reflects increasing investor confidence in our economy. And our 24-hour economy initiative promises to transform our economy.
The president failed to comment about the ongoing Galamsey activity that is leading the country into the abyss and damning reports of galamsey effects in the country. But on the flip and controversial side, he commented about Israel and Gaza. He said, denial of visas to President Abbas and delegation sets a bad precedent, adding that Ghana recognized the state of Palestine in 1998 and supported a two-state solution, which he said would not be a reward for Hamas, but would be a retrieve of innocent people facing collective punishment and forced starvation because they are Palestinians. But what was shocking was that he failed to mention the beginning of the war and the hostages still being held captive by Hamas, with many slamming the president for taking sides. In his comments, he said, "Madam President, we cannot normalize cruelty. We cannot normalize hatred. We cannot normalize xenophobia and racism. If we are going to tell a story, let's not tell it slant. Let's tell all the truth." Many say, why then fail to mention what led to the ongoing crisis, which is the October 7 attack that took the lives of over 1,000 Israelis and other nationals.
The denial of visas to President Abbas and the Palestinian delegation sets a bad precedent and should be deeply worrying to all member nations of the United Nations. Ghana recognized the state of Palestine in 1988 and supported a two-state solution to the conflict since then. And I say, contrary to the claims of some, a two-state solution would not be a reward for Hamas. It would rather be a reprieve for the hundreds of thousands of innocent women and children and people who are facing collective punishment and forced starvation for no reason other than the fact that they are Palestinian. For nearly 2 years and for the fear of reprisals, we here in this General Assembly have been playing hide and seek with language to find the right words to help us avoid or excuse what we all know is taking place in Gaza. But here's the thing, it doesn't matter what you call it. If it looks like a duck, it swims like a duck, and quacks like a duck, well, then it must be a duck. The crimes in Gaza must stop. The crimes in Gaza must stop.
Some also have weighed in their thoughts, criticizing global protests of Palestinians, yet failing to criticize Islamic attacks on Nigerian Christians, calling it hypocrisy and double standards of the highest order. Take a listen.
Love the world and you want to see a better world. Your interest is not just free Palestine. I mean, there are more people dying in Nigeria than are dying in Palestine. I can tell you that last year alone, over 500,000 Christians were killed in Nigeria just in 1 year, and nobody's protesting. The activists are not saying anything. For me, that's hypocrisy. In the north of Nigeria, Christians are being killed daily because the Islamic militants don't want Christians to exist in the north of Nigeria. They want to see a world where there are no Christians at all. And they want to conquer not just Nigeria, they want to conquer Africa, they want to conquer Europe, and they want to conquer America. The younger generation who want to live in a better world must speak out today.
Now, here is the big question. What does this mean for Ghana's future? For Ghana's international relations, this bold declaration could herald deeper partnerships with sympathetic powers like the Arab League states and BRICS nations, fostering avenues for economic collaboration in sectors such as renewable energy and agriculture, where mutual interests align. As the country stabilizes its economy through its reset agenda, evidenced by slashing inflation from 23.8% to 11.5% in under a year, Mohamed Gaza's position may attract Gulf investment and trade pacts, bolstering fiscal recovery without over-reliance on Western donors. Yet, it sadly strains ties with Israel and a long-standing partner in tech and security aid, and could invite scrutiny from US or EU quarters amid polarized UN dynamics. Following the president's speech was that of the Israeli prime ministers, which was boycotted by some member states due to the ongoing crisis in Gaza. But Benjamin Netanyahu questions the UN.
What does all of this have to do with me? And the answer is everything. Because our enemies are your enemies. So let's do something else. So first at the UN, let's do a pop quiz. And raise your hand if you know the answer. Here's the first question. Who shouts death to America? Is it A, Iran, B, Hamas, C, Hezbollah, D, the Houthis, or E, all of the above? All of the above. Correct, all of the above.
According to many, these questions should have been answered by these member states who staged a walkout to paint a real picture of what is happening in Gaza. Well, as we draw the curtain to a close, the world is in crisis, from wars to famine. Environmental crisis and silence on all human suffering cannot be justified, be it Israeli hostages being murdered one at a time, Gaza's suffering, Nigerian Christians being murdered, illegal mining, and famine, just to mention a few. All are culpable for speaking against one and leaving the rest. The world will be a better place if we believe in humanity and love. If you enjoyed this, make sure to subscribe for more.